please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Have with us Mr. TV Mohandas Pai, Chairman of Manipal Universal. Of course, Mr. Pai, we all remember that fateful day. It was quite a huge blow to the image of corporate India. But of course, a lot of water has flown under the bridge since then. You know, the points that my colleague Yash was also mentioning, I was trying to pick out some of the instances from the order. I mean, for instance, the Sebi order clearly stating that Price Waterhouse failed to acknowledge that internal audit did not conduct verification of bank balances. Exhaustive verification of cash and bank balances was left to the statutory auditors. And, you know, the internal audit plans did not have the checks and balances in place. So first questions, a 2-year ban coming in on the auditors. You know, your first thoughts on what Sebi has done and what the final implications are.
No, I commend Sebi for that. Sebi has done a very good decision. I know this case very well. There was dereliction of duty. PwC did not follow auditing standards. The partner was hand in glove with the company. He did not do his duty. It was a failure, and it went on for many years. It is not a fraud that happened in 1 year. It was there in the books for many years, and they did not detect it, and they were hand in glove. It's very clear. I'm very happy Sebi has come down. It sends a message to the auditing profession that they have to take their work seriously. If they do not, Sebi will take very strict action. Remember, SEC banned banned Anderson, and they had to wind up. And I think it's a good thing that they've been banned for 2 years. It brings an end to the Satyam saga. In one way, the regulatory actions are all over. The criminal actions against Raju are still going on. I hope they come to an end. But this is part of cleansing up the financial system, cleansing up the listing system, where auditors, if they do not do their work, they will be punished, they'll be suspended. I think it's fantastic. And in this issue, the Institute of Chartered Accountants has failed thoroughly. I'm a member of the Institute. I'm an FCA, and I say it on record, they failed because as soon as they heard about it, they should have sent a show-cause notice to the partner and suspended him, come what may. Because it was very clear what has happened. Raju had accepted that a crime was committed, a fraud was committed, but they took action slowly. It hurt the reputation of the Institute, all our reputation because of lack of action. And I'm happy that Sebi has taken this action. This is very good news. And I hope that in future, if anything goes wrong, if the qualifications and if wrong certificates are given by the auditors, they're suspended and they're told that never compromise on your standards and ethics.
Well, Mr. Pai, you know, definitely, as you're saying as well, and totally with you on that one, that it's a step in the right direction. But there's one argument that, what about the timeline? Has it come too late?
See, let me tell you, PwC went and paid, I think, $25 million and had a consent order with SEC. They went to SEC, they had a consent order, they paid up. But here in India, they are fighting the case. They knew they were wrong. They had to go to SEC, they had to accept their mistakes, go to Sebi and say, yes, we committed a blunder. We have put process in place. We'll not make it happen again. This is what it is. And we want a consent order. Instead, went on litigating, went on delaying. Well, that is it. I mean, you know, justice has to be done. Justice is slow but sure. Justice has to be done. And Sebi has done justice. Sebi comes out with flying colors. Yes, there has been a delay. The delay is for many reasons. But Sebi comes out with flying colors because it stood for probity, integrity, and standards in the entire financial system, in the entire, stock market system. So I think it's very good news. I know there's time, but, you know, PwC cannot deny the liability. They're better off if they accept it, take a hit on the cheek and run, rather than going through another round of appeals, because the reputation will be spoiled. People make mistakes. In the financial system, people make mistakes. Banks make mistakes. You accept the mistake, get it on the chin, pay the fine, whatever it is, and go on with the life and make sure it doesn't happen again.
So, Mr. Pai, sir, that's my question. A 2-year ban, is that enough of a deterrent? What else would you like to see? Or do you think that sends a very strong message and hopefully we won't see a repeat?
Well, I would have done a 5-year ban because I think it's a very, very serious fraud that's committed and they did not do the job. But I guess Sebi knows what he's doing. Sebi knows what he's doing. And Sebi is mild. But, you know, I want to raise another issue with you because I think it's a very important issue. In the last many years, there's been a consolidation of all audits with the Big Four. The Big Four have grabbed 75-80% of the big companies' audits. Now, if one of them crosses the line, and the probability of anyone crossing the line is quite high because many of them are led by fees and not by the quality of work. And I know many things that happen there where they have compromised. I mean, you know, some of the things are very commonly known. And if they do that, if one of them is suspended like that, the risk is too much. I think the government and the institute should come out with some regulations where they restrict the market share because the risk is very high. Remember, when Anderson went down, there was a big five, they became the big four. Now, if one of them goes and does a boo-boo and gets shocked by SEC, and SEC comes and says, we're going to suspend you, what happens to thousands of companies in the audit? Because there's so much of consolidation. So the risk of consolidation in this is very high. And the Indian firms have been driven out of business because of the change of auditors and everything else, and the huge resources they have. So I think we need to have a discussion of systemic risk arising out of consolidation too.
Mr. Pai, hello sir, thanks for joining us. This is Yash here. So one question on the larger issue of consent application. If you look at PwC, it's of course a ratings agency. There's a very serious fiduciary duty which it carries. Do you think the whole the route of consent application should not be allowed for institutions like ratings agencies or exchanges, and there should be some differentiation when it comes to companies and institutions like rating agencies and exchanges when it comes to the consent application?
You see, in the financial markets, people make mistakes. Mistakes happen. It is not intentional. It happens because of processes, oversight, because, we are live in a very competitive financial system, in a big trading system. So having a consent form is very, very important, and consent is the right way to go because we have to move on. We cannot keep on dilly-dallying and taking more time. So consent is a good way to get forward, get hit on the cheek. For example, in the U.S., for mortgage, mis-selling, and for all the things that happened when you sold bad mortgages, they all took the hit, and I think the government collected about $50 billion of fines, and the litigation, it came to an end. You can't have prolonged litigation because both sides will fight, and the outcome may be a nasty one. So consent is required, but wherever there's criminal action, you can't do consent. When there's criminal action means deliberately misleading people. With criminal action, the deep-set conspiracy to defraud, there I think the consent does not apply. I think consent has matured in this country. It's gone through many phases with Sebi. Sebi has a very good track record of handling consent. They put a process in place. They have the right approach. And I think we should leave with the consent because consent system is required for a very dynamic financial system.
All right, sir. Take your point on board. Thanks very much for sharing your views with us on the matter. So that's